Hello to you. I'm Fox 26 meteorologist Remeisha Shade. Let's talk a little tropics, and we still have some action in the Atlantic Basin, even though we are creeping closer and closer to the end of hurricane season. However, we've still got to get through the rest of October, and we've got all of the month of November. So, of course, I'm here. The rest of the Fox 26 weather team is here to keep you informed day by day as we will continue to do these updates daily as long as we are into our hurricane season. Let's talk about where we've been, and it has been a crazy season so far. We've had some pretty nasty hurricanes hit the U.S. Most recently, Hurricane Helene, which of course grew to a Category 4 hurricane at one point. We also most recently had Hurricane Milton, which roared across parts of Florida, producing a ton of wind, almost 20 inches of rain for parts of Tampa and St. Petersburg, and that dangerous storm surge as well. So we've had a lot to deal with. There are still some households in Florida without power from Milton a week later. So that gives you an idea of just how bad things were there. As far as the rest of the season, we do still have the potential for more named storms. So far, 13 named storms, 9 of those have become hurricanes and 4 have become major hurricanes, including Hurricane Beryl and also Hurricane Helene, Hurricane Kirk, and Milton, which was a Category 5 hurricane at one point. So the next couple of names on the list would be Nadine and also Oscar. So we are tracking what's happening in the Atlantic Basin closely to see if we have a chance for Nadine or Oscar forming. So do we have that chance? Well, here's one area we're monitoring. This is in the Western Caribbean. This is Central America. And a few weeks ago, if you were watching, I was telling you about something called the Central American Gyre. It's basically a big, broad, sprawling area of low pressure that centers itself around Central America. And occasionally you can get little disturbances that can kind of break away from that larger scale circulation and form into areas of low pressure that could eventually turn into tropical systems. So we do have one of those disturbances here right off of the east coast of Central America. And right now, it's not that impressive. And in fact, the National Hurricane Center only giving this area of showers and storms a low 20% chance to develop into a tropical depression or tropical storm over the next 48 hours and a low 20% chance over the next 7 days. However, there's still a chance. So it's something that we are monitoring closely. This is the area to watch. You can see it is very close to central portions of Central America. So if it takes any sort of jog to the west, it would make landfall pretty quickly. So if it can manage to stay out over the open water, we could briefly at least have a tropical depression or tropical storm to form. What does our computer model say? Well, this is one that we trust, our exclusive FOX model, Futurecast, and it does show an area of showers and storms trying to get more organized and getting closer to the Yucatan Peninsula by Friday afternoon around 3 p.m. However, by Saturday, it looks like if we get anything, it likely would make landfall near the Yucatan Peninsula, maybe northern portions of Central America, so into parts of Mexico and Central America, bringing some rounds of heavy rain, maybe some gusty wind, but not really ever turning into anything really, really nasty like a major hurricane or even a hurricane. So likely this model is painting the correct story. It likely will make landfall 2 hours south over into parts of Mexico, Central America, leaving the threat for heavy rain there, but not ever really getting close to the Houston area. So that is a little bit of good news for us. Do we have anything else to worry about? Well, we have another system well out into the central Atlantic. This is Invest 94L. Now it is creeping closer to the Leeward Islands, to the Virgin Islands, and closer to Puerto Rico and Haiti, Dominican Republic. It could get pretty close to some of those spots by this weekend into early next week, and it is taking that track to the west-northwest. So right now, you notice this area is shaded in orange. That means there's a medium chance we could have a tropical depression or a tropical storm forming in this area. So this is going to be Invest 94L here, and it is going to be pushing to the west mainly. 30% chance, that's a low chance it could turn into a tropical depression or tropical storm over the next 2 days. And the National Hurricane Center giving it a medium 40% shot that it could turn maybe into tropical storm or Hurricane Nadine over the next week. So you can see that it will potentially get close to some of those Caribbean islands, such as Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, and maybe eventually, if it continues on that westward track, parts of Cuba. And we'll have to wait and see if it would bring any impact to parts of Florida as we go through next week. Still too early to say, but there is a medium chance that some of these Caribbean islands could be impacted, and there's a medium shot that we could have a tropical system forming here. So definitely we are starting to kind of calm things down a little bit. No named storms out there in the Atlantic basin right now. However, we've already had 13 named storms, which is very close to our average of 14. Out of those, we've had 9 hurricanes, which is 2 above the average of 7 for an entire season. And out of those, we've had 4 major hurricanes. That is also above average. So a couple more named storms, and all 3 of those categories will be above average for this 2024 Atlantic Basin hurricane season. Of course, NOAA gave a range early in the season of what they were expecting as far as our tropical forecast. 17 to 24 named storms they were calling for. Out of those, 8 to 13 becoming hurricanes and 4 to 7 becoming major hurricanes. So we've already reached that range for hurricanes and major hurricanes. We haven't quite reached that number of named storms, but the season is not over yet. So that's why we're still concerned that there could be a few more systems popping up on us. But of course, we will keep you updated if anything is out there. As far as water temps, here's a little bit of good news. These water temps have been super steamy, unusually warm, really before the season started, throughout the season, and really up until today. They've been fairly warm, but with 2 major hurricanes rolling through the Gulf of Mexico, finally those water temperatures are starting to cool off a little bit, especially in the northeastern Gulf, where we did have Hurricane Helene, Hurricane Milton impacted that area as well. And we will continue to see some warm water temperatures out there. You can see some low 80s still out for parts of the central Gulf and eastern Gulf, but at least the northern Gulf, we're starting to see those water temps finally starting to cool down. So that will help us out a little bit because, of course, that very warm water, especially as it gets into the 80s and even low 90s, helps to fuel these tropical systems that pop up on us. As far as the rest of this month, what are we expecting? Well, these are the typical formation zones for the remainder of October. Western Atlantic, southeastern Gulf of Mexico, and the Western Caribbean, definitely the areas where we do have a higher chance to see a little bit of tropical action. Of course, we've already had that this month, and we could see more, so we're going to have to monitor those disturbances closely and see if anything else can pop up out there. But for now, at least nothing imminently threatening the Southeast Texas and the Houston area. As we jump into November in less than 2 weeks, guess what? There will be the potential for more tropical activity out there. In fact, we do have at least a small chance for maybe a few tropical systems developing that could blossom into hurricanes. Central western portions of the Atlantic, at least a small chance. It's possible, not likely, but possible. And also western parts of the Caribbean Sea. It is possible that we could still have a little action brewing out there in the tropics. But overall, as we go into November, the chance for tropical formation really starts to decline. So that is some good news. It's not out of the question. It can still happen. We still need to be prepared. But notice we've kind of gone up the roller coaster, the peak of hurricane season right around September 10th. And now we are on our way down the roller coaster. And usually for Southeast Texas, for Houston, by the middle of October, if we haven't gotten anything by now, the chances of us getting another tropical system after mid-October is very low. We start to get those stronger cold fronts coming in, water temperatures start to cool, so don't let your guard down. Of course, keep checking back with us daily, but like I said, the chance definitely getting lower day by day. So let's just keep our fingers crossed that we don't have to deal with anything else coming at us from the tropics this season. We had our one hit in Houston early in the season on July 8th. That was Hurricane Beryl, which made landfall and roared right through the heart of downtown Houston with winds, wind gusts at least, close to 100 miles per hour at times and over a foot of rain for parts of the area. So we've had a hurricane hit this season, but hopefully that will be it. All right, well, that will do it for your tropical update for today. I'm Fox 26 meteorologist Remeisha Shade. Have a great day.